Most people forget 95% of what they learn in just 1 month. Think about it. Hours spent in class, making notes, solving assignments, revising again and again. Yet after a few weeks, it's all gone. But then, there are some people who learn faster, absorb information effortlessly, and retain everything for years. How is that even possible? For example, Scott Young, the author of Ultra Learning, completed a 4-year MIT computer science degree in just 1 year, and even learned multiple languages in just a few months. What's their secret? In this video, I'll reveal the science of fast learning, the biggest mistakes keeping you stuck, and the most important 3 advanced memory techniques to retain everything permanently. And trust me, by the end of this video, your entire approach to studying will change. If you're in school, college, coaching, or preparing for an exam, this video is a complete goldmine. The meta-learning method, Phase 1 and Phase 2. Most people think that learning means just reading books, watching lectures, or making notes. But real learning happens in 2 phases, and if you don't follow both, you'll forget almost everything within a few weeks. Phase 1. Memory activation. Before you start learning anything new, your brain needs to warm up, just like how athletes stretch before a race. This is called memory activation, where you prepare your brain to absorb new information better. Step 1. Think about what you already know related to the topic. For example, if you're about to study physics, recall any basic concepts you learned earlier. This makes it easier for your brain to connect new information with old knowledge. Step 2. Ask yourself, why am I learning this? If you know the purpose, whether it's for an exam, a job, or just curiosity, you'll automatically pay more attention. Step 3. Use mind maps or visual notes to get an overview of the topic before diving deep. This step makes your brain actively ready to learn, instead of just passively receiving information. Phase 2. Active engagement. And now, here's where most people make a mistake. They read something once and assume they've learned it. But real learning happens when you engage with the content. Step 1. Learn by explaining. Use the Feynman technique. After reading a topic, close your book and explain it in your own words as if you're teaching a 5-year-old. If you can't explain it simply, you haven't learned it properly. Step 2. Apply what you learn. Don't just read, solve problems, practice, and use examples to reinforce the knowledge. Step 3. Self-test regularly. After a few days, try recalling what you learned without looking at your notes. If you struggle, revise only the parts you forgot. These 2 phases, memory activation and active engagement, will help you learn faster, remember longer, and never forget important information again. But you know, most people skip Phase 2, which is why they struggle. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you actively use it, the stronger it gets. This is where meta-learning comes in. The skill of learning how to learn. 3 rules of meta-learning. This concept is explained in the book Ultra Learning, and it follows 3 powerful rules. 1. Clarity. Understand why you are learning. The way you study for an exam versus personal interest is completely different. Having this clarity changes everything. 2. Prioritization. Identify only the most essential things to master. Smart students don't try to learn everything. They focus on the high-yield topics that actually matter. 3. Active learning. Reading or watching alone isn't enough. You need active recall, self-testing, and problem-solving. Most students passively consume information, thinking they've learned it, when in reality, they haven't. Techniques to learn faster technique. Number 1. The 3-phase learning method. Whenever you're learning something new, whether it's building an app, preparing for an exam, or learning a new skill, use this 3-phase approach. 1. Exposure phase. Start by watching videos or reading about the topic's 2nd practice phase. Actively apply what you've learned. Most of the learning happens here. 3rd. Retrieval phase. Test yourself after 4 to 5 days by solving questions or explaining concepts out loud. Skipping any of these phases equals forgetting what you learned. Technique number 2. Using AI for learning and revision. AI has changed the game. If you're not using AI for studying, you're wasting hours. Here are 3 AI tools, besides ChatGPT, that will skyrocket your learning speed. 1. Google Notebook AI. Summarizes notes, explains concepts, and even converts study materials into a podcast. 2. Google AI Studio. You can literally do a Google Meet with AI, share your screen, and ask doubts in real time. 3. Anki, flashcard app. Uses spaced repetition to ensure you never forget what you've studied. Should I make a dedicated video on AI study tools? Let me know in the comments. Study like a top 1% student. Technique number 3, the brain activation strategy. Science says if you study for 4 hours, your actual effective learning time is just 1 hour because your brain is in autopilot mode. To fix this, use these 2 techniques. 1. Pomodoro and Ultradian sprints. Study in focused intervals with planned breaks to keep your brain highly active. 2nd, interleaving effect. Instead of studying one subject for 4 hours, switch to a new subject every 1 to 2 hours. This makes your brain spot patterns, increasing retention. Your goal? Keep your brain highly engaged while learning. Technique number 4, the Feynman technique. This is one of the most powerful learning methods. 1. Read or watch something new. 2. Close the book, take a blank sheet, and explain it in the simplest words. 3. Wherever you get stuck, that's where you need revision. If you can't explain it simply, you haven't learned it properly. Maximizing your learning potential. Final learning hack. Memory and visual learning. Your brain remembers images better than text. Use memory palaces, mnemonics, and visualization techniques to lock in concepts permanently. If you don't revise this video's key points, you'll forget them in a week, just like 95% of people. So take notes, apply the techniques, and comment below which tip helped you the most. And if you don't want to miss out on my upcoming videos, subscribe now. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.